It's on!
Hello everybody, it's on and it's time for another episode of Watching SWF. Let's see what's happening in the world of Total Extreme Wrestling. Last night, the Supreme Wrestling Federation held Nothing to Lose in Long Beach, California. They drew 30,000 fans and the feedback for the show has been awesome. In the main event, Rocky Golden defended his SWF World Heavyweight title against Remo, where Jack Bruce was the special guest referee and had an interesting promo to close out the show. It was a sellout crowd and a pay-per-view buy rate of 3.33 across the US, Canada, and Mexico. Canadian Wrestling Alliance held Clash Classic 2022 last night in Kamloops Royal Athletic Park. They drew a sellout crowd of 15,000 fans, and the star of the show was clearly Aaron Knight, who dazzled in the main event, which saw Ed Stone defend his CWA World Title in a four-way contest. The show achieved a pay-per-view buy rate of 1.22 across the US and Canada. At last night's show, Team Smash Mouth became the newest tag team force in CWA. The duo consists of Lee Rivera and Mountie Man, and it was announced that they'll be a regular team during last night's show. In backstage news, it seems Jamie Atherton is set to remain with CWA. We can report that he's been offered a contract extension and will likely sign a new contract with the Alliance. In some locker room gossip, it appears that Samuel Curran and Sally Ann Christensen have been bonding recently. Reliable witnesses say the two are now travel buddies and have been spending a lot of time in each other's company. We can also confirm that Nadia Snow and Jared Johnson are now a couple. There are also rumors that last night Zoe Amos and Deborah Young had an enormous fight last night backstage at the show. There seems to be a serious problem between the two, and it does seem to be affecting the morale backstage at the Alliance. We recently ran a poll on one of our web forums to see who is the best manager in the world, and after your feedback, we learned that it's Drake Young of CWA. After literally thousands of votes, Drake Young appears to be the best manager in the wrestling world today. Hello everybody and welcome to SWF Supreme TV, live in front of a sold-out crowd at the Theater of Dreams. We are in front of 10,000 fans and have an action-packed show for you. Tonight begins the hunt for a new SWF title championship. The CGC Canadian title tournament begins today with our United States qualifier round. We'll also see Remo in action after his loss to our SWF World Title champion, Rocky Golden. And Rocky Golden has a special announcement. Let's take you to the ring and watch Rocky Golden's entrance. Here we go, and Rocky Golden opens the show after having defended the SWF World Heavyweight title at Nothing to Lose. Golden says he is a fighting champion who needs a top contender and issues an open challenge to the locker room. Valiant comes to the ring to immediately answer Golden's challenge. Valiant says that his win against Scythe a few nights ago makes him the first in line for a title shot. That statement brings Rogue to the ring. Rogue has the microphone and asks Valiant what happened after his match with Scythe, who beat him on stage and made him look like a fool. Rogue claims that Valiant isn't man enough to fight for the most prestigious title belt in wrestling history, and Rogue challenges Valiant to a top contender match tonight at Supreme TV for our impromptu main event. As we get ready for the first match of the CGC Canadian title tournament, let's take a look at the brackets, and we are starting tonight with our US Qualifier round. All competitors who are from United States origin will have to compete before they face off against our grouping of Canadian heritage. We have our first competitors coming to the ring. Here is James Prudence, followed by Deaver Arnold. As this match gets underway, Demelza Wade walks out to the ringside area with a clipboard in hand. Prudence and Arnold square up, and Prudence is clearly using his mat wrestling skills to keep Arnold grounded. Deaver Arnold can brawl a bit, but his high-risk moves do the most damage. Demelza Wade seems to be taking notes on these competitors, and Phil Vibert says she isn't part of any scoring for the Canadian title tournament. Both competitors are fairly evenly matched physically, but Arnold takes the advantage and brings Prudence down. Mr. Suave slides out of the ring quickly, and it looks like James Prudence is walking away from this match, but he spots Demelza Wade, and he tries to get her attention while she's taking notes. Deaver Arnold sees his opening, and he leaps over the top rope and crashes into Prudence. The fight stays on the outside until Arnold rolls Prudence back into the ring. James Prudence makes sure Arnold gets tied up in the ropes, and Prudence takes advantage as Shane Stones asks for a break. But Deaver Arnold is able to power out, and now we see why he's called the Rampage. Deaver Arnold delivers a flurry of offense, but Prudence is able to pull the top rope down and make Arnold spill to the outside. Prudence flexes and walks over to Demelza Wade, telling her to take notes on that. To get back inside the ring, Deaver Arnold times a springboard off the top rope, but Prudence catches him and slams Arnold with a modified powerbomb. Prudence thinks he has this one all wrapped up, and he calls for the Prudential Pain Plan. James Prudence is walking over to Demelza Wade again, and she smiles and shakes her head as Deaver Arnold lifts Prudence into a fireman's carry and dumps him on his head. Prudence is prone in the middle of the ring as Arnold climbs the turnbuckles and delivers a cannonball senton for a pinfall victory. Well, Demelza Wade has been watching this first match of the CGC Canadian title tournament, and now she has her clipboard and microphone in hand. She stands across the ring from James Prudence, who is still attempting to act suave and impress Wade. Wade tells Prudence that he lacks focus and is easily distracted. She tells him she can help him get better in the ring if he's willing to do the work. Remo comes to the ring for our next match of the night. He's fresh off a loss to Rocky Golden, and he's definitely going to be looking to build up his stock in the SWF and get another world title shot sometime in the future. His opponent tonight will be Dropkicks, returning to the SWF, and there's the bell, and oh, Remo runs right through him with a hard lariat. Dropkicks is down on one knee as he tries to get to his feet, and Remo hits him with the lumbar puncture. I don't think he's going to last very long. Remo lifts him up for the destroyer, and there it is. 1, 2, 3, a pinfall victory for Remo. That was pretty quick. After that dominating performance, Remo takes a microphone and calls out Jack Bruce. Remo says Bruce cost him the SWF World Title last night, and he wants Bruce right here, right now. Bruce makes his entrance to the ring with a mic in hand. Jack Bruce says he wants some revenge, and he hasn't forgotten how Remo attacked his knee. Bruce may be willing to give Remo a match at Awesome Impact, but he wants Remo to prove that he's worthy of not only staying in the main event scene, but of fighting an SWF legend such as Bruce. Remo seems up for the challenge, and after some back and forth, Jack Bruce makes it clear that for Remo to earn his match with SWF's Rockstar, Remo is going to have to defeat some hand-selected Supreme Stars first, instead of taking out local jabronis. Rocky Golden is with Joanne Rodriguez backstage to give his thoughts on the top contender match coming up later tonight. Just as Golden gives his thoughts, Adam Smasher surprises him with an attack. Both men fight backstage as the camera tries to follow the action. This one's getting wild. Here's the next match in the Canadian title tournament. Sammy Smoke makes his way to the ring, followed by Lenny Brown. There's the bell, and Demelza Wade is out here again with her clipboard, and Anna Garcia thinks she must be scouting talent, being an accomplished wrestler herself. Both these competitors have a good mix of brawling and technical skills. We should see a good matchup here, and things look to be dead even as both men try to get the advantage. Lenny Brown takes control with some offense that Sammy Smoke can't match, but they tumble to the outside. Brawling continues as the referee tries to maintain control. Dwayne Fry notes that Demelza Wade seems impressed by something. Sammy Smoke is getting cocky as he stands in the ring with Lenny Brown nursing his ribs. Brown beats the 10 count, but Sammy Smoke keeps his advantage by going on the attack. In an attempt to set up a move at the turnbuckle, Brown reverses with a spinning DDT. That doesn't finish the job, and the technical skills of Brown and Smoke are on display as they reverse holds and try to get the other to submit. As the action slows, Phil Vibert reminds fans that he helped bring the CGC Canadian title to SWF and tells some stories about his time working up north. Sammy Smoke uses an eye rake to take control, but Lenny Brown won't stay down for 3. Brown fights his way back to an even contest, but Sammy Smoke also kicks out after a Russian leg sweep and a leg drop. This becomes a bare-knuckle fight as both men pummel each other. Attempts at quick roll-ups don't finish the job for either man, but Sammy Smoke surprises Brown with a spinning back elbow. Lenny Brown plays possum, lures Sammy Smoke in, but wrenches the arm and lifts and hits the star treatment. Oh, he mostly got it, but it's enough to put Sammy Smoke away. Lenny Brown moves on to the next round. After his loss, Sammy Smoke is enraged. Demelza Wade has the microphone again and tells Sammy Smoke that he needs to channel that anger. It's true that he's a loser today, but with her guidance, he can get some big wins in the future. Wade announces that she's forming an unstoppable team to take over the SWF, and she sees something in Sammy, and maybe he sees it in himself too. In a pre-taped promo, ZWB and Angry Gilmore announce an SWF World Tag Team title match with the awesomeness at next week's Supreme TV. Gary the Entertainer is in the ring with his manager and hand puppet Leon the Chameleon. Gary and Leon do their shtick for a live audience, with Gary saying he's proud to be a part of the CGC Canadian title tournament and plans on winning the whole thing. If he becomes the Canadian title champion, he'll apply for dual citizenship. Leon thinks that's a great idea and says Gary is ready for his first opponent. Now it's time for the next match in our CGC Canadian title tournament, with Forrest Ratzlaff making his entrance to the ring, and he looks ready for a fight. The bell rings, and here we go. Forrest Ratzlaff is charging, and Gary the Entertainer is avoiding taking that contact. There's some cat and mouse in the ring that makes even Demelza Wade laugh, who is at ringside again taking notes. Forrest Ratzlaff catches Gary the Entertainer and targets the lower back, clearly softening it up for his finisher. A rope break allows Gary to retreat to the outside. He passes Demelza Wade as he walks around to his corner to consult with Leon the Chameleon. Gary is in trouble, but a reversal sends Ratzlaff into the steel stairs, and Gary gets a break. Ratzlaff is a real specimen and just likes to fight. But Gary the Entertainer can outthink his opponents, and he can possibly use his creativity to steal a victory here. Back in the ring, Ratzlaff takes the advantage and tosses Gary to the outside. Ratzlaff lets Gary climb back in, but quickly tosses the Entertainer again. Gary consults with Leon, with Demelza Wade telling Ratzlaff it's time to finish the job. Ratzlaff lets Gary the Entertainer back into the ring, but that may have been a mistake. Gary lands a gut shot with his knee, and Ratzlaff appears winded. Gary punishes Ratzlaff, but Justin Sensitive is walking to ringside. Is he hiding from the competitors? As Sensitive goes to Gary's corner, Gary sees Sensitive grab Leon and steal him away. Ratzlaff attacks Gary's back before locking him in the Universal Backbreaker, and Gary has no choice but to tap out. Gary the Entertainer is distraught, not from losing the match, but from Justin Sensitive stealing Leon the Chameleon. Demelza Wade again has a microphone and says Gary is already represented, so she wants to speak to the winner of the match. Wade tells Forrest Ratzlaff that there's a lot of things that she'd like to do with him, for training purposes of course, and that they should negotiate backstage. Next is the last match in the US Qualifier round of the CGC Canadian title tournament. Spencer Spade makes his way to the ring, followed by his opponent Mikey Lau. There's the bell, and as soon as it rings, both men go directly after each other. Both favor hand-to-hand combat, but with vastly different styles. Spade is able to block karate kicks and judo chops from Lau, and Lau reverses hooks and haymakers into Irish whips to the corner. Lau is beating on Spade at the turnbuckles, but Spade lifts and slams Lau in the center of the ring. Both men are slow to their feet, with Lau locking in submission holds, but Spade won't give up and reverses to lock in a hold of his own. Both these Supreme Stars are skilled in technical wrestling as well, and we see the flashy reversals and several sequences of impressive moves. Neither can earn a fall and the match is dead even, but a big spot sees Spade get tossed to the outside and Lau leaping over the top after him. This looks like a street fight as they both fight around the ringside area, whipping each other into the guardrails and using everything as a weapon. Spade takes control and rolls in to break the count, extending the damage he's able to do to Lau. Lau fights back when Spade takes a chair, ducking a shot that hits the post and allowing Lau to kick the chair into Spade's face. Lau breaks the count as he argues with the referee. Ana Garcia explains that Lau wants to finish this match and isn't disqualified because he didn't use the weapon. Lau helps Spade to his feet, but Spade drives an elbow into the gut and they brawl again, even as things slow down. Both Spade and Lau seem winded from this intense battle as neither can get their opponent into the ring. At opposite sides, Lau climbs inside while Spade stays on the apron, refusing to get back in as the referee tries to negotiate. Spade is on the apron arguing with the ref about Lau's kick to the chair as Paul Huntington and Monty Trescardi sneak into the ring. Dwayne Fry comments that Huntington and Trescardi are both members of the Rat Pack along with Spade, and together are known as the tag team Fame and Money. Huntington and Trescardi attack Mikey Lau, but Lau quickly neutralizes them with kicks and strikes. Fame and Money get tossed over the top rope, bringing the referee's attention to them. Referee Rick Young is distracted as he tells Fame and Money to get to the back, and Spade pushes Lau into the ref, making him tumble to the outside. Rick Young is down and on the outside of the ring as Spencer Spade rolls out and Phil Viber insists it to provide assistance to the official. Lau is alone in the ring when Randy Unleashed runs in and surprises him with a running enziguri. Mikey Lau is able to stand but looks like he's out on his feet. Spencer Spade wakes up Rick Young and hits a Supreme Stunner for good measure and the pinfall victory. Hey y'all, remember to like and subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on. Damien Carville interviews 3 Supreme Stars of Canadian heritage who will be competing for the CGC Canadian title. They each have a bye in the tournament, which Damien Carville says is by design to help ensure the inaugural champion is Canadian. Bear Bukowski and Stephen Parker agree that that's how it should be, but Chill says he just wants a fair fight and promises to be a fighting champion if he ends up being the best man in this competition. This impromptu main event will help decide who is the top contender to the SWF World Heavyweight title and who will challenge Rocky Golden at Awesome Impact next month. Valiant makes his way to the ring, followed by his opponent Rogue. The bell rings, and as this match gets underway, Dwayne Fry explains the history between both of these competitors as the tag team Valiant and Gajdrowick before Jack Gajdrowick turned on his partner and became Rogue. There's bad blood between these two, and we can see that in how they lay in vicious punches on each other. They're brawling more than wrestling, and with the SWF World Heavyweight title top contendership on the line, it seems like this is more personal than anything else. The fight spills to the outside and only gets more brutal. Both Rogue and Valiant use the outside area to try and gain an advantage with leaps from the apron and crashes into the guardrails. This match has to be won inside the ring, and these Supreme Stars return between the ropes, but nothing is decided as they both land high impact moves with neither staying down for a 3 count. With both Valiant and Rogue backing into opposite corners, the Dark Reaper's music plays and Scythe makes the walk down to the ring. Rogue is smiling as Scythe steps over the top rope. Valiant is ready for a fight as Rick Young waves off Scythe, but he's careful not to take another bump. Scythe looks at Valiant, but his hand grips Rogue's throat. Scythe chokeslams Rogue, and the ref calls for the bell. Scythe isn't done yet as he lifts up Rogue and hits the Underworld Spike with Valiant looking on. Rick Young has already called for the bell, and Scythe is going after Valiant, while Rogue is still down from that chokeslam and Underworld spike. Scythe and Valiant battle it out, but we're out of time. See you next week for Supreme TV. Let's see what's happening in the world of Total Extreme Wrestling. Last night, TCW held Total Wrestling in the V. Thompson Arena and drew 8,211 fans. It was a great show, with Wolf Hawkins being the star of the show when he defeated Tana the Mighty in the main event. Last night's Total Wrestling got fans buzzing and achieved a 3.98 TV rating, the highest of the night. In a little backstage news from the TCW locker room, it seems that Joel Bryant and Human Arsenal have begun bonding. They're both part of the booking team, and their friendship seems to be a positive influence and a good sign for the future of TCW. The Supreme Wrestling Federation was at the Theater of Dreams last night for Supreme TV. They drew a 10,000 fan sellout and had a pretty good show. Supreme TV drew a 3.52 TV rating and had the majority of fans enjoying what they saw. USPW held American Wrestling last night in Edmonton Grandstand and drew 7,629 fans. The fans seemed to like the majority of the show, and Trent Schaefer dazzled in the main event when him and Eddie Howard defeated Running Wolf and Rick Law. More than 11 million viewers watched American Wrestling last night on Reverie. Some news from the USPW locker room. Former SWF star Sean McFly is said to be the new locker room leader within USPW's backstage. One issue McFly might want to get involved in is a big argument between Brandon Smith and Greg Black. Last night the two had a huge fight and the situation is tenuous. Hopefully they can resolve their differences. Two USPW stars who definitely see eye to eye are Miss American Pie and Peter Novak, who are reported to be dating as of now. The Canadian Wrestling Alliance held Championship Wrestling last night in Calgary and drew 8,785 fans. Fans really enjoyed the show, and Cameron Vesey is said to have been the star. He was in the main event, teaming with Ricky DeColt and defeating Dante Dunn and Jack DeColt. CWA Championship Wrestling got a 1.51 TV rating on CBN. There was some tension backstage in the CWA locker room as Drake Young and Mark Raisin got into it with a huge fight. There's definitely some tension backstage, but in good news for CWA, we can confirm that Jamie Atherton has agreed to an exclusive written contract with the Alliance, extending his stay with the company. Last night, RIPW held RIPW Uprising and drew 70 fans. The show has gotten positive feedback, and even in her loss, Pinky Perez is said to be the star of the show. RIPW Uprising was shown on WrestleWorld and had a total of 11,180 viewers. Backstage at RIPW, Remington Remus is taking Ollie Howells under his wing as his protege. He's said to be sharing tips and advice on how to navigate a career in professional wrestling. Last night, USPW held all-night action in Regina and drew 1,439 fans. It was a pretty good show, and Trent Schaefer again was the star performer of the night. We saw Tiffany Jade defeat Melody in the main event. All-night action had over 1 million viewers on Reverie. At the show, a new tag team debuted. Sterling Whitlock and Dusty DuCont were officially announced as Unlimited Violence. An odd choice considering Sterling Whitlock's contract is almost up and he'll be moving to SWF early next month. We've just got some news from the TCW locker room that Eddie Chandler has been promoted to become an official locker room leader within the promotion. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and check us out next time it's on.